with you, Yasin Fall, Norwegian Refugee Council, NORCAP. Please kindly join us. And Galini, I think you were already here, so you could just please have a seat. And then Mr. Mabai Ja from United Nations Office for Central Africa, UNOCA. Please, you are highly welcome. And just to welcome you again, it's crazy because a few of the panelists are still maybe stuck somewhere in traffic, but I hope to join us in the course of the conversation, especially our youths and our women who are working on the ground. That we wanted to hear from them the evidence on what they're actually doing on the field and how it is translating into critical pathways for peace and security in the Sahel. So very quickly, Yasin, I think without any waste of time, I just perhaps want to engage you around the question of the key priorities for international organizations and development partners in terms of programming capacity development at the intersection of climate change, peace and security, as well as human mobility. What are these key priorities, if you can share with us, Yasin? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. My pleasure to be part of these interesting side events today. So I'm Yasin Fall, and I am NORCAP regional advisor as a climate expert. So working together with NORCAP and trying to also support their ongoing work on climate in Western Africa. So my pleasure to attend, as I said, this event. So I maybe will start just to a bit share on NORCAP mission, so for people to maybe have an idea on what is NORCAP and what also is NORCAP mission in general. So NORCAP mission is to improve aid, to better protect and empower people affected by crisis and climate change. So we do that by supporting intervention that protect, empower, create choice and opportunity for people. So we do that also by improving impact at the global, local level through joint project with partner and other stakeholders. We also do that by providing expertise and developing capacity that enable partner to meet the need of people in fragile contexts and crises. We also do that by strengthening the system through support, by strengthening the system through support to leadership, coordination, and policy development. We also try to do that by building bridges between the humanitarian development and peace building sector. So it's a kind of broader mission that scope well with the side events thematic today. So coming back to the priorities you mentioned, so as a partner, and also I will not maybe talk for all organizations, but depending on their own mandate, I think each organization defines some key priorities. And for NORCAP, we have 4 key priorities we identified. And these are areas where NORCAP will invest both financially and with human resources. So our first priority is to invest in local and national capacity and enhance participation of people at risk. We will do that also by improving relevance and impact of humanitarian development and peace-building interventions through increasing participation, decision-making, and engagement of people affected by crisis. Our second priority is to protect people in crisis and conflict. So these priorities also will try to achieve that by preventing and reducing violence and harm, and also enhance safety and human security, and enable people to exercise their right. The third one is to promote climate action and sustainable responses. We will also try to achieve these goals by supporting increasing climate resilience and environmental sustainability for people we serve. So the first one is to improve effectiveness of multilateral institutions and responses by reducing people's need, risk, and vulnerability. And the last one is to promote a renewed commitment for democracy and human rights. And we will try to achieve that by increasing the respect for people, civil and political rights, political participation and representation, and strengthen democracy and rule of law institutions. So that's, in a nutshell, our 5 priorities to try to respond to this interesting question. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yassine. Amazing. I will turn very quickly to our colleague from UNOCA, Mabaye Dia, and perhaps you might want to share with us how security, how the climate security being implemented in the Central Africa region and how it's evolving, and of course, at the same time, how to better engage nature-based solutions. But first, can you just give us how it's evolving in the Central Africa context?
Thank you very much, Taibe, excuse me. Yeah, my name is Mabaye Dia. So I am the Climate Security Advisor for the United Nations Regional Office for Central Africa. So I am based in Gabon. I have to tell you that it has been really a challenge to get here, but I'm here today. so happy to be here. So I will just start by saying that the link between climate change, peace and security in Central Africa are increasingly recognized, including by United Nations Security Council. Central Africa is one of the world sub-region most severely and diversely affected by climate change. But the reality is that climate change, biodiversity depletion, desertification, transhumance, development, peace and security are intertwined in Central Africa. As you also know, in one hand, Central Africa is stand out from its tropical rainforests. The Congo Basin is recognized as a significant carbon sink of greenhouse gases. 4% of global carbon dioxide emissions, and a key factor to maintain stability in Central Africa. On the other hand, we have the Lake Chad Basin, which is really an open security, laboratory where drought, desertification, silting, dust, flood, combined with the shrinking of the Lake Chad, caused in part by climate change, are fueling conflicts and migration in the region. Just to say that when you talk about or think about Central Africa, in one hand, the Congo Basin is perceived as the basin of solutions. On the other hand, you have Lake Chad, or the Lake Chad Basin perceived as the basin of problems. But the good news is that these two basins are learning from each other. So the Lake Chad Basin is learning from the Congo Basin in the sense of preserving its ecological integrity, while the Congo Basin is learning from the Lake Chad Basin in terms of economic development and conflict prevention activities, as sustainability requires reconciling the long-term vision of national and international interests in forest and biodiversity preservation, and of course, the short-term need of local communities. You know, so very, very interesting to say that if, for example, Gabon organized a couple months ago the One Forest Summit, Chad is in the process of organizing a One Desert Summit in February 2024. So this is really the real, example, I will say, or illustration to say that these two, basins are characteristic of the Central Africa. But at the same time, when we talk about climate change or climate security, these are opportunities and issues, but also opportunities in Central Africa. I will just stop there for now and say that maybe I will just add one thing to say that in Central Africa, protected areas, you know, are really perceived as, you know, peace-building frameworks, you know, and climate change has completely changed the way protected areas are really managed in this particular region of the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Mbaye. Thanks, really sharing that symbiosis on the basins and, of course, the exploration around the intersection and how it's evolving in the region. And, of course, that's really amazing. And we will be coming back to you, perhaps, for more synthesis around that. But I'll move to Galine right now. Galine, perhaps you would like to... Yassine has already shared a little bit about some partnerships kind of approaches, but you might want to just navigate around what national and regional partnerships actually exist with regards to climate security implementation and how they operationalized in the region. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tabi. I'm very happy to see my very good friend coming into the room here. Welcome. I just come from Mauritania, Mali, Niger, Nigeria, when we did a tour looking at who are the different actors on the ground working to support social cohesion, stability, and also peace building. And what we found out is that there is a plethora of actors, whether it's in each country or at the level, at the regional level. So institutions are there, people are there working and trying to support as much as they can the ongoing work. But the one key challenge that we also observe is that we are not speaking to each other more oftenly, or maybe if I can say in a very, very well-organized manner. So what I want to say there is called for the need to structure the partnership and also the collaboration, not only at local level and also but national and also regional level. So what we have started with IOM, UNEP, UNFCCC, UNOWAS, is to set up a regional UN working group. So this UN working group for the West Africa side for now is to trying to support the work of the regional organizations such as ECOWAS, who just adopted his regional climate strategy in 2022 June. And we are trying to find ways to see how we can support this implementation of the strategy, and also how we can leverage or even mainstream climate, peace, and security approaches in this strategy. So the discussion with ECOWAS is also going through how we can better support national adaptation plans in each country. Because we know each country have their plans, they have strategies, they have the NDCs, but most of them are not taking into consideration enough the climate, peace, and security lens. So the work also is ongoing with the regional institution. So this example of a UN regional working group need to be replicated and duplicated. And the request we have from the country is how we can also set up such initiative each country, so that at least this regional working group speak to the working group at country level. So the working group exists, so we are not trying to reinvent the wheel, but to see how we can better strengthen the existing and also how we can reinforce the collaboration and the strategy. So talking about strategy and collaboration, we have started also a partnership with Uniquely, where we are working closely also in developing evidence-based research in the country. We organized also a workshop in June, 13 and 14 June recently, where we invited all the youth and women from the different countries to also share the perspective and learn from also the regional approach. Because one thing is to work at regional level, another thing is to work also cross-cutting, so that the different level of governance can speak to each other. So these are some examples that we want to share with you, and we believe that such examples need to be replicated or strengthened, and we count on everyone here to continue to support the initiative. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Galine. Thank you, yes, for understanding the existence of some of these partnerships and collaboration, and of course the highlight on the need to strengthen the operationalization. I think it's really clear. We have a few of our panelists who have been stuck in traffic here, but I am going to take the opportunity to come back to you, Yassine. Just perhaps if you want to just share a little bit on what strategy should be expanded on to facilitate access to financing and access to the financing for climate security in the region, please. If you don't, could you be very brief?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I will try to be very brief. So our strategy here is focused on expertise and capacity strengthening. So at our side, NOCAP as a partner, we are trying to place the right expertise into the right place to enable desired outcome for our partner. So it can be supporting on capacity strengthening, but also supporting on fundraising opportunity regarding climate. So for now, we are also solution. So NOCAP developed an staff solution to unmet challenge in collaboration with our partner. So for also that, we are working with the local partner and also international partner. For now, we are supporting around 13 countries, and also supporting 11 UN agencies. So by also, through standby partner and also staff that support on fundraising, as you mentioned, but also on other different climate area that can be climate adaptation or also climate services. Just to be really brief, I will stop there. So. Thank you.
Thank you, Yassine. I think we will be going into a quick interactive session. So please, if you have any questions, kindly just put them together. And once we hear from our viewer, I have with me Aminata Diallo from Mali and also Rahamata from Chad. These are people working on the front line. Ramata, je vais commencer avec vous. Peut-être vous pouvez échanger un peu quelles solutions à votre niveau dans votre contexte qui joue sur les solutions sur la paix et sécurité dans votre contexte, s'il vous plaît, très bref.
Ok, merci. Je prends un exemple sur le Tchad. Notre source de problème, c'est le conflit. Et sur le conflit, s'il n'y a pas de solution, le conflit ne peut pas être réglé. Les deux parties peuvent être conciliées par l'intervention du gouvernement, et le gouvernement peut faire le suivi pour les activités et autres. Tant qu'on ne finit pas avec les conflits, les solutions, la paix, la sécurité, tout ça ne peut pas être vu.
Qu'est-ce que vous faites en pratique à votre niveau qui est comme solution?
Solution, nous sensibilisons les jeunes, on fait des concours de jeux, les meilleurs planteurs des arbres, les activités, les théâtres, la caravane, tout ça.
D'accord, merci Ramata. Très bien. Bon, Madame Diallo, Aminata, je tourne vers vous.
Merci beaucoup. Vraiment un sujet très sensible qui aurait pu être beaucoup plus développé. Et nous sommes évidemment dans le Sahel. Et moi, j'interviens sur les 3 régions vulnérables du Mali qui sont Gao, Tombouctou, Kidal, qui sont à la fois dans le Sahel et dans le Sahara. Donc, des régions très, très vulnérables qui sont des espaces hostiles à l'agriculture, à l'élevage, etc. Alors, comment demain permettre plus de résilience pour ces populations? Comment leur permettre de faire face aux chocs climatiques qui aujourd'hui il y a les chocs climatiques, mais il y a aussi la menace terroriste. Donc il y a une combinaison de facteurs bloquants qui empêchent le développement dans ces zones. Comment donc rassembler des solutions à partir des solutions plus multilatérales que des solutions qu'on pourrait envisager à notre propre niveau? Donc nous avons le passage de la Grande Muraille Verte sur ces zones, et comment cette Grande Muraille Verte pourrait demain être une possibilité pour mieux répartir la population dans ces espaces. Parce qu'on a les grands vides, ce sont des espaces très très vides, et comment ramener la population avec les activités, c'est le challenge de demain. Comment finir avec les guerres, avec l'émigration, etc. Ce sont donc les défis qui se posent au Mali, que comme vous savez, l'espace, ce sont des régions que nous souhaiterons demain repeupler, mais repeupler avec les activités. Des activités comme celles qui existent déjà, qui sont l'agriculture, l'élevage, mais aussi les infrastructures. Comment amener plus d'infrastructures dans ces régions qui permettraient de peupler ces gens, enfin ces espaces, parce que le vide, la nature a horreur du vide. Et donc notre objectif, c'est de repeupler ces espaces. Merci beaucoup.
Merci, Madame Aminata Diallo. Je vais connecter Nafissa, notre jeune du Burkina Faso, en ligne, si elle peut échanger un peu. Nafissa, vous avez 2 minutes pour intervenir, s'il vous plaît.
D'accord. Bonjour tout le monde, désolé de ne pas être là, je suis Nafissa Konaté. Je suis dans le système, je fais des installations de systèmes solaires généralement un peu dans les régions rurales parce que c'est très important. Ça permet de garder une certaine sécurité parce que quand les gens n'ont pas accès à l'électricité dans les villages, c'est un conflit. Ils ne peuvent pas communiquer avec les gens en ville, ils ne peuvent pas créer de nouveaux business, ils ne peuvent pas être sustainable. Donc c'est un peu ce qu'on fait au niveau du Burkina en fait. Voilà, pour faire court, que j'ai juste 2 minutes. J'espère que vous m'avez entendu. Il n'y a pas trop de bruit en arrière.
Since we don't have interpretation services, would you like to just recap that in English, please, quickly? Thanks.
All right, so sorry for the noise. I am Nafissa Tuganate. I have a solar business, a system of solar business installation in Burkina Faso. And usually we do install around a lot of rural areas who need electricity to sustain their businesses and their hospitals and their clinics. And that helps a lot because they can also communicate and stay in touch with people in the city and make sure that anything that goes on there is known and the country can get safer because of that communication around the country.
Thank you very much, Nafissa. Thanks very much. Okay, now I'll turn to the audience. Please, if you have a question, I start with you, but you kindly be very brief, 30 seconds. Thank you, so we can have inclusive interventions. Thank you. Please, go ahead. Can you give him the mic?
Thank you. My name is Shadrach Agaki. I have a question to yourself. Within the project that you're doing, I know you must be taking a system approach that is looking at different projects and how they interrelate and interconnect and how they affect each other. I want to hear from you the results that you've seen and the impact that you've seen, because then after this event, what we need to do is to consolidate the solutions that we have from West Africa and apply them here in East Africa. So yeah, that's what I would want to hear from you, and also from the representative. you mentioned that the Lake Chad is decreasing. But the research that was done, I think, by Adelphi, I was in Climate Diplomacy Academy 2023 by Adelphi, and the research that they gave us, according to the lake basin, they say the lake is not decreasing. It's just fluctuating. So you may also want to respond to that. Thank you very much.
Next. Yes, please, to him.
C'est préférable en français ou en anglais? Peut-être, oui, comme... je m'appelle Paul Elkan, je suis consultant avec DAI. Et merci d'avoir organisé cette panel. Félicitations pour aussi toutes les interventions. Nous conduisons actuellement une étude financée par USAID sur genre, climat et sécurité dans le Sahel. Et donc, toutes les problématiques soulevées ici nous touchent à cœur. Je voudrais demander peut-être à M. Mobay s'ils peuvent élaborer un peu plus sur le progrès fait en Afrique centrale vis-à-vis le changement climatique, air protégé, le rôle des aires protégées, parce que nous savons dans l'Afrique de l'Ouest avec Burkina, Arli, Pendjari, ces aires protégées aussi sont occupées par les terroristes. Quelles sont les leçons à tirer qu'on peut de l'Afrique centrale peut-être? En ce qui concerne le volet transhumance, je sais que le Tchad mène beaucoup des activités. Si on peut aussi, et aussi surtout voir quel est avec tous ces défis, quelles sont les opportunités pour promouvoir le rôle des femmes dans la mitigation et des changements climatiques. Donc ce sont des préoccupations qui nous touchent à cœur. Merci.
Oui, merci. Another question? Yes, the gentleman in the suit. Yeah, please.
Good morning. My name is Nick Chemosit. So my question is, how do you address the challenges, balance between climate change messengers and security audience required to take action?
Recap?
The imbalance between the climate change messengers and the security audience required to take action.
Okay, amazing. Yeah, please go ahead. No, to him.
Morning, my name is Ken. I wanted to hear from the panelists the nexus between all the three actors of international interventions, international disruptions, and the governance issue in the whole spectrum, in the ecological extremities between a solution point and a boiling point at the two basins.
Okay. In the absence of more questions, I would just like to recognize the presence of our colleagues from IOM, from the Union of Cities and Councils, and ACS, and Norway, and other national, regional entities. Please, if I don't mention, but you are kindly recognized and welcome to this session. I will turn now very quickly, because I think the questions were very straightforward. And Mabai, you start first with the question addressed to you, and then secondly, you address also the question from the last question from the gentleman. So you have two questions to address straight. Thank you.
Hello. So with respect to the question regarding whether or not Lake Chad is shrinking or no, I think what is important is really the impact. A couple weeks ago, or a month ago, Galilei and I were conducting a joint, mission, to the four Lake Chad countries. So I covered Chad and Cameroon. He covered Niger and Nigeria. So what is important is really the impact of this change. I met a guy who was telling me that he's from Niger. He was telling me that when he was young, the Lake Chad was his back door. And now you know, Lake Chad is about 40 kilometers from his home house. You know, so just to say that the impact is just amazing. Protected areas, and they link to. I was saying that climate change has completely changed the way we manage, protected areas, but also transhumance. In July, from July 10 to July 12. An international conference, the second international conference on cross-border transhumance were organized by ministers in Yaoundé. What is important is that also transhumance has completely changed the way protected areas are managed in Central Africa. It is not anymore about managing my protected areas, the internal. It is about knowing really what is going on outside of your protected area. More importantly, protected areas today, in the context of climate change, yes, you have to understand that if properly managed, protected areas have the potential to reconcile seemingly conflicting interests, but in fact interrelated and interdependent interests in a sustainable perspective in the context of climate change. Merci.
Thank you. There are other two questions pending from the gentleman behind who asked about the climate messengers and yes. So could you, Yassine, very quickly, 30 seconds to respond to that?
Yeah. Thank you. So very quickly in terms of results, so as I already mentioned, we focus on capacity strengthening and capacity building. So what we are doing is trying to fill the gap with local partner at national level, regional level, and international level. So filling the gap is trying to do an assessment and see in terms of climate activities, for instance, what is the gap in this institution. We can fill it with our experts, because NOCAP has a roster with a pool of experts in different, with different skills. So for instance, now we are supporting international regional climate, for instance, regional climate center like ICPAC, IGAT, so AgriMed, ACMAD, where we are currently deploying some experts that support this kind of institution. We are also deploying experts at national level through the institution. In Senegal, for instance, we say supporting on climate financing, so supporting on fundraising and climate financing in general, and also supporting UN agency. We work a lot, as I said earlier, we are supporting now a kind of 11 UN agency, and WMO is part of this also. We also supporting OEM, UNICEF, and all the UN agency, depending on the need of the gap we need to fill. So that are our focus, and now we are achieving a lot of results. But I would just want to highlight one in Niger with the CNEDD. So we are supporting them, having or benefiting from the GCF fund, for instance, and then now they are funded with a readiness proposal, and we are supporting currently also in the implementation of this project. It's just one example between other ones that we have many experts.
Thank you, Yassine.
In the region. So
Yes, sorry, not
yes,
to intervene. Yes, just to actually recognize the importance of that response. But I would like to just give Madame Sidibé, Aminata Diallo, to respond to the question from the gentleman very quickly.
Très rapidement. Comme vous le savez, c'est une activité qui est déjà très menacée avec les chocs climatiques. La transhumance dans ces zones est pratiquement condamnée. Parce que nous savons aujourd'hui qu'il y a un conflit permanent entre agriculteurs et éleveurs. Et comment donc résoudre l'équation eau, agriculture et les hommes, et des hommes qui sont de plus en plus nombreux dans ces espaces. Vous savez bien que le Sahel, c'est aussi une zone de forte population, malheureusement, mais face au choc climatique, ce dilemme se pose. Donc faire en sorte que demain, les femmes puissent mobiliser les ressources internes sur ces 3 zones qui sont donc, par exemple, la zone des 3 frontières. Comment demain, on pourrait aider ces femmes à s'organiser mieux face au choc climatique. Parce qu'on sait bien que dans la question des changements climatiques, ce sont en général les femmes et les jeunes qui paient le plus lourd tribut. Et comment faire que demain, on pourrait ramener des solutions avec une économie circulaire, par exemple, pour aider ces femmes à se sortir de ces chocs. Donc toute la question reste posée. Je vais peut-être laisser la parole à madame qui pourrait me compléter.
We don't really have time anymore because the next session might be joining. So, Rahmata, in fact, I want you to know this is a work in progress. The conversation continues, and we keep having this follow-up so we can intensify and have deeper dives into these conversations and see how to build on the collaborations and partnerships that have been articulated as key to taking this file further and stronger. And of course, looking towards the COP, we will still be engaging around the same conversation, highlighting at the highest policy level. So I want to take this opportunity to say thank you very much to our panelists and those who intervene online and those who were not able to join. So a round of applause to you all. And to those who asked very key questions, I want to take this moment to invite you up to the stage here. Let's have a family photo. And of course, just to let you know, today is my birthday. So, so please, very quickly, let's have a family photo. Yes, thanks. Venez pour une photo de famille, s'il vous plaît. Hey, c'est pas grave, c'est pas grave.
Bonjour madame, comment ça va?
Vous allez bien?
Ça va bien?
Ça va.
I'm good, and you? Yeah, how are you?
Yes.
Ça va?
We have even eaten fish together.
Yeah.